What's up, everybody? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all of your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to touch on a whole bunch of different subjects. We're branching out, trying to do a little bit more, bringing you a little bit more information. We're going to talk about the House voting to repeal the EV rules out in California. Talk about how Honda's recalling about 150,000, I think, Acura MDXs. We're going to talk about how Toyota is investing like $88 million in a plant here in the U.S. We're also going to talk about GM as they decide that they're going to up production here in the U.S. And all of this, of course, is based off tariffs. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the recent death of Pope Francis. All right, let's jump into it real quick. So, first story we're going to talk about, and of course, we're going to head over to automotive news because that's where we get all our automotive news information from. But first, we're going to talk about the House, and they're talking about a bill to repeal the California EV rules. California EV rules is mainly it's about them deciding that by the year, originally I think it was 2029, but I think they moved it over to 2035, that they want to remove gas-powered vehicles from our roads and pretty much go completely electrical. So, which is stupid, but let's read this story and see what they're talking about. All right. So, of course, automotive news for our daily dose of automotive news. House to vote on Republican bid to repeal California EV rules. This is written by David Shepardson on Reuters. The House of Representatives plans to vote next week on a Republican plan to repeal the Biden administration's approval of California's landmark plan to end the sale of gasoline-only vehicles by 2035. House Majority Leader Steve Scalia's office said on April 23rd that lawmakers will vote on a measure to repeal a waiver granted by the Environmental Protection Agency under Biden in December, allowing California to mandate at least 80% electric vehicles by 2035. Those rules have been adopted by another 11 states, including New York, Massachusetts, and Oregon. One issue remains whether Congress can revoke the waiver using the Congressional Review Act. In March, the Government Accountability Office said the waiver cannot be repealed under the CRA, which only requires a majority of the U.S. Senate. The U.S. House also plans to vote on a waiver to block California from mandating new pollution standards and rising number of zero-emission electric commercial trucks. As a candidate, President Trump vowed to rescind waivers granted by the EPA under the Clean Air Act to California to require more EVs and tighter vehicle emission standards. California's rules require 35% of light-duty vehicles in the 2026 model year to be a zero-emission model, a figure automakers say is impossible to meet given current sales, rising to 68% by 2030. Toyota last month called on Congress to stop California's unachievable, unrealistic, and unworkable battery electric vehicle mandate. The state says the rule is crucial to meeting greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and cutting smog-forming pollutants. Some states like Maryland have delayed compliance with those rules past 2026. California's first announced a plan in 2020 to require that by 2035, at least 80% of new cars sold by electric and up to 20% plug-in hybrids. The Transportation Department is separately moving to undo aggressive fuel economy rules adopted by Biden. All right, so, and you know, me personally, I hope that they do get rid of the act. It's just stupid on so many levels to me. You know, I see why you would want to go, completely gas free by 2035, but it's impossible. There's no way that we're going to have the infrastructure for EV vehicles by 2035 to the point where at least 80% of people on the road can use EV vehicles or have an EV vehicle. We don't have the housing structure to do it. Majority of those EV vehicles, people are going to have to live in homes. So they're going to, because if you have an EV vehicle, you need to have a home. That's what I'm going to say. We're starting the process of getting EV chargers at apartment complexes and stuff like that. But in most cases, if you have an EV vehicle, you need to have a home because you need to have that charger at home. And you need to have the ability to charge that EV vehicle overnight. Or you're going to be one of those people that's going to be sitting at EV charging stations for what, 45, an hour and a half to get your vehicle charged? That's just way too much. Nobody's willing to do that right now. Not the way the world works. People will want to jump in and out. We're still a microwave world. We're still a place where we enjoy to get things done very quickly. And you can go up and get a full tank of gas in what, 20, 30 minutes? You charge your EV vehicle at one of these charging stations, you sit there for 2 hours and it won't charge up to 50%. We don't have the infrastructure at all to put 80% of EV vehicles on the road. You almost have to change every gas station into an EV charging station. And you're going to have to improve the ability for these vehicles to charge. They're going to have to charge faster. It's a given. Because if it was even close to that, all these EV charging stations will be packed. Most small cities only have probably 1 or 2 EV charging stations. If you had 80% of people in that city having EV vehicles, those charging stations would be packed all the time. And then that's happening now. Even with the low number of EV vehicles that are on the road right now, these charging stations are being packed with people waiting to charge their EV vehicles. And they can't go anywhere until they do. So it's just a whole bunch of mess that's not going to get solved anytime soon. They can repeal it. It's a honorable goal to want to have gas powered vehicles off the road. It's more a pollutant situation, smog, and all these things that they worry about out here in California. So they're probably going to get it repealed because everybody should understand that we just don't have the infrastructure, and we probably won't have the infrastructure by 2035 to have roads with 80% EV vehicles on it. All right, let's keep it going. All right, so let's jump back into this. So we're going to check out this story about Toyota as they invest another $88 million in a new hybrid transaxle line. So this is on the Toyota website. So it's Buffalo, West Virginia. Building on Toyota's unwavering commitment to reinvesting profits in its U.S. operations, Toyota West Virginia will invest $88 million to assemble a next generation of hybrid transaxles. This brings the total planned investments to more than $2.8 billion and reinforces long-term job security to its more than 2,000 team members. This investment is another example of Toyota's build where we sell philosophy and further proof of the company's confidence in our team members, said David Rozier, president of Toyota West Virginia. Their willingness to embrace innovation and champion bold ideas continues to drive us forward, and we're proud to play a pivotal role in providing customers with a variety of drivetrain options. Scheduled to start production in late 2026, the drivetrain components will help power future North American assembled Toyota and Lexus models. The hybrid transaxle transfers power seamlessly between the engine, electric motor, and wheels. Hybrid electric vehicles are a key component of Toyota's multi-pathway approach to electrification, and the new line will support the growing market. Toyota is deeply invested in the U.S. with nearly 50,000 employees working in 11 plants, including a joint venture with Mazda in Alabama since 2018. Toyota has invested $25 billion in American manufacturing and another $28.5 billion to support our growing network of domestic suppliers. Over 50% of vehicles sold in the U.S. are assembled here, and nearly 80% of vehicles we'll sell in the U.S. are assembled in North America. So we're going to cut it off there. So, and what was that? That was a massive Toyota fluff piece where, of course, they're talking about them, doing the additional $88 million in investing in this plant over in West Virginia, and all of what the $2.8 billion they've invested Toyota has. And what is it? They wanted you to know, they want you to understand that they're putting their money in the U.S. pockets, and they're staying here. Why? Because they want to avoid them tariffs, boy. They want to avoid them tariffs. So, this is what I'm saying, guys. It's been happening all over the place. Hyundai, Toyota, Nissan, all these companies are building, bringing more production back to the U.S., and this is what we need and this is what we deserve. We spent so much money, so much time and money sending overseas, buying products overseas, cheap products from overseas, vehicles from overseas, all these things, and and weakened us. It weakened us to the point where we have so much poverty, so many problems with people having employment, and all these other things. This is what we needed, guys. This negotiation tactic of tariffs has boosted the American economy so much. So many of these automakers are bringing back production to the U.S., bringing it back, building plants, bringing back jobs. And this is what we needed. This is a great thing. And it's all because of Donald Trump and the tariffs. Let's face it. All right, let's keep it going. Keep it going. All right, so one more story, and then we're going to end off with the Pope Francis story. So, once again, another story about increased production, increased job opportunity for the American people. This is GM. Let's check it out. Read, excuse me. Excuse me. GM to increase production at Ohio transmission facility. This is by Khalil Hall and Nora Eckert at Reuters. General Motors is increasing production of transmission at its Toledo, Ohio facility, shifting away from EV drive unit manufacturing toward parts for gasoline vehicles, the company confirmed on March 23rd. The transmission plant supports production of light-duty trucks made in Fort Wayne, Indiana, along with other facilities. Reuters first reported that GM would increase production at the Indiana assembly plant in early April after U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 25% tariff on auto imports. A spokesperson for the automaker said the production shift in Toledo is not related to tariffs. Yeah, right. General Motors will revise production plans at Toledo Propulsion to support additional capacity of ICE internal combustion engine propulsion units in alignment with current market demand and manufacturing resiliency, the spokesperson said in a statement. See, that's what I'm saying, guys. And they're going to continue to try to say that this is not because of tariffs and it's just a good business move. We know what it is. We know what it is. We know that they understand that they need to get these jobs back here so it would cost them less money. They understand that for a long time they benefited from, the lack of tariffs, and they skyrocketed their profits because of a lack of tariffs, and they just realized at this point that they got to pay the piper to some degree because it was so many years that we weren't collecting tariffs, that we were paying tariffs but not collecting them. And they have to. That's why most of the negotiations with these companies about these tariffs have gone smoothly. Why? Because they are not operating, they're not negotiating in a good position. They're negotiating from a position where they've already taken everything and not given anything. So now it's the point where they have to give something. And a lot of these automakers are just bringing them back. Just bring it back. Bring as much work as you can back to the U.S. Put as many factory workers that have lost their jobs for this or that reason, get them back to work, get them back to good paying jobs in these factories, get America back to where it should be. That's all we ask for. All right, so it's going to be a quick show. Has some technical issues, but let's get it done. So, recently, Pope Francis passed away. Very sad news. Was a beacon for people, for poor people, a beacon for religion to some degree. So, not a lot of scandals going on when it came to Pope Francis. The church maybe, but not Pope Francis himself. So, I want to read the story. Matter of fact, we're going to check out a video talking about Pope Francis and his enjoyment of EV vehicles and the Pope Mobile, which is an EV vehicle that Mercedes-Benz made for Pope Francis, I think last year sometime. So let's check that out real quick. I'm going to read the story and then I'm going to let you guys get up out of here.
Did you know Pope Francis had an all-electric Pope-mobile? Pope Francis, who passed away on Easter Monday, April 21st, 2025, at the age of 88, was a passenger who rode in style and with the planet in mind. Here's a look at the electric take on the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Delivered by Mercedes-Benz in December 2024, this groundbreaking vehicle aligned closely with Pope Francis's commitment to sustainability, as highlighted in his encyclical Laudato Si. Built on the Mercedes-Benz G580 with EQ technology, this eco-friendly Pope-mobile features 4 near-wheel motors for smooth emission-free travels. The design? Classic pearl white with a modified roof for maximum visibility and a height-adjustable, swiveling seat for the Pope himself. But it's not just about looks. This vehicle is the result of a global collaboration developed over a year by teams from Austria, Germany and Italy. And let's not forget history. Mercedes-Benz and the Vatican go way back, with a 94-year relationship and iconic Pope-mobiles from every era. So whether it's the 2025 Jubilee in Rome or any other event, Pope Francis led by example. Sustainably. Follow Triple Pundit for more news.
All right, Pope Francis took one last ride in the Mercedes before death's history of the Pope-mobile. One of the first motorized Pope-mobiles was a black Grand Page Type 837 gifted by Pope Pius X in 1929. Since then, Pope-mobiles have taken many different shapes and sizes. Amid thousands of Vatican guests on Easter Sunday, Pope Francis waved from inside of his all-electric Pope-mobile, a vehicle that has carried the pontiff for nearly 100 years. After his final public appearance, the 88-year-old, known as a reformer of the Catholic Church, died on Monday morning, April 21st. For a large portion of the year, Pope Francis resided at Rome's Gemelli University Hospital due to a litany of health issues, including bilateral pneumonia, before eventually succumbing to a stroke and irreversible heart failure. Pope Francis isn't the first pontiff to ride inside his designated Pope-mobile, a special vehicle that serves as both a form of security and elevated seat, manufactured over the years by brands like Mercedes-Benz, Fiat, Jeep, and Cadillac. Here's what's to know about the Pope-mobile. The Pope-mobile is a special vehicle used to transport the Pope as he visits members of the public. The modern Pope-mobile features an elevated seat that provides the Pope with more visibility. The current Pope-mobile is based on the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, an SUV. Where the Pope-mobile differs from the traditional mode is the rear. Rather than a normal back seat and trunk, the Pope-mobile features 3 rear seats, one more elevated and capable of swiveling in the center for the pontiff. Where the trunk hatch would typically be is a set of stairs to enter the back of the vehicle for poor weather conditions and or added protection. A top-mounted roof with nearly 360 window view can be added to the Pope-mobile. The newest Pope-mobile gift to the Catholic Church in December 2024 is entirely electric. The Mercedes-Benz did not immediately respond for comment when contacted by USA Today about the latest Pope-mobile on Monday. All right, I'm gonna let y'all let it die there. All right, my friends. So, prayers up for Pope Francis. Seemed like a great guy, was really there for the people, was a pope for quite some time, dealt with a lot of adversity when it came to the church, but made it through, lived a good life as far as I could tell, and brought a lot of happiness to a lot of religious people. So that is all I can really say about it. It's sad that he didn't get a little bit more use out of his brand new electric Pope-mobile, but I guess the next Pope will get some use out of it, so that should be okay. And it's just a sad situation when anybody passes away, anybody. So let me let y'all get up out of here. It's been one of those shows that having some technical difficulties, but we made it through. So on that note, I'm going to let y'all get up out of here. My name is Chris Surratt. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Hit me in the DMs if you have any questions. And I'm out. Peace.